Greetings to everyone, dear friends. Hello to everyone. Today we have a truly revolutionary and sensational broadcast, just the way I like it, because the topic we will touch upon concerns literally every person who is currently interested in spirituality, meditation, and so on. Today we will not be talking about religiosity, nor will we be discussing sectarianism. The topic will be about the nature of Shiva and how he is misinterpreted and misunderstood. How up until now, over many thousands of years, people have mistakenly assumed the nature of Shiva and misinterpreted it, possibly due to some misunderstanding of ancient texts, his primal nature, the energy he carries with him. I was recently on a journey to holy places, and throughout this journey I meditated, and in the processes of these meditations I managed to realize that there is, in fact, the nature of such divine energy as Shiva. Indeed, there are many contradictions among people who study yoga, who study meditations. And some of you might say now, well, we are far from Shiva. Now you're going to tell us about some God. But we have our own idea of God. Therefore, to align all the terminology now and not behave like esoteric enthusiasts or sectarians, we will start building the terminology with you in a harmonious and scientific way. Let's start with what is generally understood by the word God and what I understand by the word God. I have a comprehensive video analysis, Andi, on my channel, which was made a while ago, on the topic of who God really is. It's actually called Who God Really Is and What Religions Hide from People. If you search for this broadcast, you will be able to find information on this topic and understand what the all-encompassing God truly is. In short, God exists in reality like a global level neural network connecting all divine light souls in the universe. That is, all stars, all planets, absolutely all living and non-living beings possessing a divine soul, energy, consciousness are united into a kind of quantum neural network, like the neural network in the brain. And all of this in unity is the one God. As for what are called gods, what is referred to as gods in paganism or what is called gods in Hinduism, these are nothing more than certain beings, intelligent beings of the highest level and order, who in this universe have reached such a level of enlightenment and awakening that they have become immortal, eternal spiritual beings. These categories include cherubim and seraphim. This is a classification: Christian, cherubim, seraphim, archangels, angels. Classification, or the Vedic classification of devas. The virgins, devas are gods. Devas is masculine, Devis is feminine. Both gods and goddesses. Gods and goddesses with a lowercase letter, because it means that, and personally I am convinced of this, and I convey that one should never become some kind of fanatic and be devoted to worshipping a specific deity and say that only this is the truth. God, everything else, no. Because therein lies the absurdity. God takes on any form in the universe. He exists as the manifestation of Shiva, as the manifestation of Buddha, as the manifestation of Jesus Christ. And these are all different forms of God's manifestation, which coexist and, in essence, convey the same truth about how a person should live in this life in harmony with the universe. But today we will talk about why Shiva is misunderstood even by his own devotees, even by people who practice yoga for a long time and study ancient texts. Now, ask or look up information on the internet when you try to search who is Shiva, and as a rule, you will hear that Shiva is the god of destruction. So let's start with that. He is usually depicted in such a way, perhaps with 2 arms or maybe with multiple arms. And he is portrayed as a kind of ascetic with a trident sitting on a lion's skin on a very high mountain called Kailash. And on this mountain, by meditating, he attains enlightenment. This is an interpretation from the Vedas. Today, we will figure out whether it is true or not, whether it is the truth or not, how it is misinterpreted, how it is distorted. And also, today, in this broadcast, we will speak directly with Shiva himself. I have contact with him, and I can channel him directly in this broadcast. And he will directly tell you about his primal nature, about how to understand him. What the foundation of conveying his teachings and information is, where he comes from. Maybe he is from some planet, maybe he currently lives somewhere in a physical body, or maybe not. In other words, we will ask him all of this. And at the end of this broadcast, you will be able to ask him your questions. And you will also be able to meditate in the meditation that he will directly provide through me. Can you imagine what an opportunity this is? I have no idea what kind of meditation he will give you. But one way or another, we will do it today. In general, why does he have such a skin color? According to legends that are in the Vedas, it is said that Shiva was born on earth, incarnated as a divine being, and he preferred solitude, seclusion. And I, of course, might be somewhat inaccurate, so please don't throw stones at me. But according to my information, because I know he engaged in meditation, hermitage, and as a sign of some kind of desire to renounce some materiality, he anointed his body with the ashes of funeral pyres. That is, according to legends, he took ashes from a funeral pyre and anointed his body with these ashes, and that's why his skin was of such a color. But that's what they say in Vienna, and whether it's true or not, we today will figure it out and find out in general. If we now talk about symbolism to begin with and about how the universe is created, according to the Vedic understanding, as much as I can convey this understanding to you now, I will try to interpret it. So please don't be upset. If someone who deeply studies the Vedas has their own understanding, I will convey to you my understanding, and this is exactly how I understand it, not as the ultimate truth in reality. So, according to the Vedic interpretation of the creation of the world was created by Brahma, that is, God the Father, as we imagine it. He is depicted in this way as a deity sitting on a lotus, with many heads looking in different directions and many arms. And in each hand he holds various aspects, like a scroll, a book of knowledge, a key representing how he created and fashioned this world. And essentially Brahma is considered the one who established all the laws, created the entire world, but at the same time, among all the deities, he is the most unknown. That is, he is not particularly revered and is not especially regarded in Hinduism. He is not given much attention. There are certain legends about this as well. However, he is a manifestation of what we call God the Father, Allah, the Almighty, meaning the one who is the all-encompassing essence of God. Why are they depicted with many heads? Well, probably because in Hinduism, the multidimensional quantum nature of the universe and the concept of Brahma were described quite accurately. Brahma para Brahma, as the great Brahma, that is the original father. And why many arms, why many heads? Because of the multidimensional structure. You see, even 5,000 years ago, everything about 5D was already known. And the information was essentially already being conveyed to us, but we didn't understand it. We thought that he actually has that many arms. But it's not about the arms, not about their number, but about the meaning embedded in the symbolism. Why many arms? Why does he hold and manage all of this? Because he is everything at once. He can do this and that and that. And Brahma, yes, he is like a sage. He is like a keeper of knowledge about how reality is created. But just as in all religions and cultures, there is the concept of a trinity creating the universe. In Vedic culture, there is the concept of a trinity in Vedic belief, One of this trinity is Brahma, another is Shiva, and the third is Vishnu. Here is represented Maha. Essentially, if you think about it, you could say that Brahma is like the father, and Shiva and Vishnu are like his sons, like his forms, manifestations. If we look at Vishnu, we had that ether, which you know on my channel about the nature of Krishna, where he actually came from. He is precisely the embodiment of Vishnu. Both Vishnu and Shiva are considered beings of the highest spiritual level, like angels and archangels. And if you look at them in this hierarchy, they are higher than archangels and angels. They are cherubim and seraphim. That is according to their level. And there is even an overlap of symbolism here when we talk about the six-winged seraphim. That is a seraphim with 6 wings, 6 wings more than a regular angel, because he is multidimensional. And similarly, we look at Hindu deities who have 6 arms. Also, like the 6-winged seraphim, it is possible that in ancient India, people saw seraphim in this very form. And they appeared to them as deities, which they interpreted in the way they understood. And here, when you look at Vishnu, yes, you see him as one of the forms of the manifestation of the god Brahma. But if we ask ourselves, what is the harmony between these various aspects? Then a rather holistic picture emerges. You will actually now understand that the Vedas, the Indian Vedas, are not in any way paganism, because paganism is more likely a cult of worshipping the elements and deifying natural phenomena rather than what we see in Hinduism. In Hinduism, there is the supreme god Brahma, who creates the entire universe, and there are his forms of manifestation as different types of energy. This is so interesting because in this symbolism, information about the multidimensionality of the universe was already encoded by the ancients. Just now, for example, I can decode it for you in my own way and present it in a comprehensible language, not like it is written in the Mahabharata, in the Vedas, where you can read so much that you think, my God, what was happening there? They were killing each other there, someone, Shiva. He even tore off his own son's head. My God, what a horror when you listen to what's written there. But how to understand all this correctly? Christians generally think that Shiva is some kind of demon and so on. Yes, so let's figure it out. Brahma as the supreme essence that creates the universe, but there must be harmony in the universe. And what is harmony? Harmony is not only in creation, not only in building and manifestation, but also in the movement of time. From the moment of creation, when everything manifested, to the moment of destruction and to the moment of new creation, when I went to study to become a yoga instructor, I met a girl who was quite well versed in Vedic culture. And once I dyed my blue hair. I had blue hair at that time. I dyed it black. And she wrote to me saying, Yura, why did you dye your blue hair black? You understand that black is the energy. Shiva is the energy of destruction. And I was like, oh my God, how scary. The energy of destruction. And indeed, if you study information about Shiva, you will most likely read that Shiva is who? The god of destruction. This is the god who destroyed the universe, who destroyed humanity. And this scares people. People are afraid of this. Oh my God, how is that possible? How can one worship a god of destruction? What if everything gets destroyed right now? After all, he destroys worlds. How can that be? And for many people, this can be completely incomprehensible. However, we will now figure out whether this is the case. And in general, this word destruction, I will tell you looking ahead, is completely a misinterpretation, to put it mildly, of what he actually brings. But let's consider it for now. Let's assume destruction. Let's assume that as it is interpreted is correct. Then, according to According to the Vedic tradition, Shiva is destruction, which is not just destruction. In the Vedic tradition of yoga, it is said that Shiva is not destruction per se, which simply annihilates everything in its path. Misties energy. It is destruction for the good, a kind of destruction of something old, bad, and obsolete that has outlived its purpose. By the way, we will now touch upon the question of whether Shiva is related to aliens. An important question, right? Could it be that he came from a specific planet? Or maybe he is related to the Pleiadians or the GWS? We will also touch upon this now. Wait for this moment, it will be very interesting. I myself am very interested. I love Shiva so much and I love this whole topic. I just adore it. I practice energy practices myself. Dance. Shiva is one of my favorites. You know that I am a yogi, I practice yoga, I adore this teaching. And Shiva essentially, who is he? Maha, gods. That's another name for him. Maha is great and gods are understandable, practical. That is, he was and is considered the first practitioner who gave knowledge to people. It's like, I don't remember who it was from. Not the lie Perseus, not Perseus who gave fire to people. So Shiva, he gave knowledge to people. He gave people knowledge on how to achieve a state of enlightenment. Through what? Through the fact that he himself came to earth, he incarnated, he gave the first knowledge, and I kept receiving such words that I did not yet know what it means. In meditation, such a name came to me. Mansion, Dranath, Mansion, Dranath, Mansion, Dranath. I think, my God, yes, what is this? I sit, meditate, and Mansion Dranath comes to me. And I understand that perhaps this was somehow connected with my incarnations, because Nadi is one of the names of yogis who were the first to learn from Shiva. Here they say a practitioner, one of the first magicians. No, Shiva was not a magician, and magic is a completely different understanding of what magic is. We will talk about this separately with you sometime. Therefore, he is one of the first who imparted knowledge. But how can it be that the god of destruction came to earth to give people knowledge? Well, something doesn't add up. It seems strange. Yes, Prometheus reminded me. Let's continue to figure out what the matter is. If Shiva is the one who destroys the universe, the one who destroyed the world, even in Thailand, there is a story in the culture that Shiva destroyed life on earth, and then Vishnu restored it. Vishnu, as another form of manifestation, a form that creates life, a form that builds and creates, he incarnated on earth in various forms, including in the form of Krishna. That is, some say Krishna, the great God, the only God, the highest. To me, this seems strange and illogical because Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. That is, he is just an avatar of Vishnu. Therefore, one of his aspects of Vishnu is Krishna. Do you understand what an avatar means or not? That is, there is a higher spiritual essence like the higher self, and there are material manifestations on earth. Buddha, for example, is also an incarnation of Vishnu. I do not yet have confirmation of this information, but literally today this thought came to my mind. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'll say that the incarnation of Brahma is Jesus, Yeshua. That is the incarnation of Brahma. And there is someone else who is an incarnation of God, Shiva. But I don't know who. It's unknown to me, and I can't tell you for sure right now and won't even speculate. But according to the information I have, he is a hermit. And it's unlikely that anyone knows him. But now we will figure out why Shiva, why like this, how he lived. And here we come to the topic that Shivanai is considered the progenitor of spiritual yogic teachings. As a hermit, that is, he is considered someone who goes into meditation, withdraws from worldly aspects to achieve enlightenment. And before he reached his enlightenment, he went into hermitage. That's how it is written. But is it really so? We are now getting very close to the essence of who he really is. And now we will approach this. Wait, hold on for the moment. But besides talking about Shiva himself, we must understand that he and anyone else, the god, he represented Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, all have a female aspect, the so-called Shakti energy. So Shiva and Shakti are like two extremes of the same entity. Therefore, Shiva does not go separately from his Shakti, that is the female form of the creative energy manifestation. And when we look at the legends about Shiva, we immediately see that Shiva was who he took a mortal woman named Parvati as his wife. And then it turned out that she was not just a mortal woman, but an incarnation of Shakti, also one of the goddesses who can take different forms. And he, essentially, in his union, Shiva and Shakti are a symbolism of that spiritual path that embodies the creation of harmony. That is, Shiva is like the one who imparts knowledge, and Shakti is the one who manifests life and creates this life. Essentially, if we translate it into symbols, then Shiva is like a stream of cosmic energy, and Shakti is like a stream of earthly energy. The feminine creative energy connecting with each other like the Kundalini of the earth and the Kundalini of the cosmos. And these two Kundalinis, the earth and the cosmos, move towards each other. They activate all the chakras, activate the superconsciousness, and a person achieves enlightenment. Essentially, all the information we have about spirituality, chakras, subtle bodies, and etheric fields, in one way or another, all of this came from Shiva because he was the first to bring this information to people. He talked about chakras, he provided this foundation and base for us to build upon. Therefore, in our time, living without knowing who he is, why he is so revered, and where it all originated from is strange. I hope that this video will help many of you to get to know him very well, and most importantly, to understand his true nature without distortions. Well, at least as much as I can convey it without distortions. Shiva and Shakti, they essentially embody a constant divine dance, jointly creating the universe as the harmony of feminine and masculine creative energy, which manifests as thus movement generating energy in the universe. And it is said that as long as Shiva and Shakti dance, the universe is alive. But this is such symbolism that believers carry over. But what is it really? Now we are approaching the concept of Shiva and reality. As we know, he chose the ascetic path. Oh no, here's another moment. Yes, I missed it. Both Shiva and his wife Shakti, Parvati, I'm really summarizing now, so as not to stretch this out for 3 hours. Both Shiva and his wife Parvati are capable of changing forms of manifestation, reincarnating, and altering their structures. That's why you can find such information about Shakti on the internet. Who she is, that Shakti is Parvati, Durga, Mahakali, and other forms of manifestation. And it seems as if these are different goddesses, and in Hinduism they are essentially worshipped as different goddesses. But here's the question. They are worshipped as different goddesses, yet it is known that it is the same goddess. She simply transforms into different forms of energy. And among these forms of energy exists the goddess Mahakali. Mahakali means great, Kailash means black. And there's not only Mahakali as the feminine, but also Mahakal as Shiva in a fierce form. That is, Shiva in a fierce form destroying everything in his path. And when I was still under the influence of Christianity, I found it very interesting that I perceived Mahakali as if she were some kind of deviless, demoness. Look, yes, how terrifying. Yes, in flames, with skulls, with a sword, ready to destroy and kill. And people are afraid of her, thinking, my God, how terrifying. Can this really be a goddess? How can one worship her? The thing is, I was asking myself, how can this be? Why? Can divine energy really carry such a fierce flow? And the answer was yes, precisely because it is God. It is the manifestation of all forms of energy. It is not only light and love and something else. It is also different forms of manifestation. And if we specifically touch upon Mahakali and Mahakali as a form of Shiva's manifestation, the fierce form of Mahakali's manifestation, and Mahakali is not just a crazy form destroying the universe, but a form of manifestation that comes to destroy the bad. Well, in quotes, you know that I don't divide things into bad and good, but that's what they say. That Mahakali is the one who kills demons. That is, she is the protector of justice, the protector of the weak, the protector of those who need help. Destroys black magic, destroys demons, destroys unholy people, unholy energies. That is, all who are dishonest, unjust. Because her form of manifestation, it is similar, to what each of you, perhaps at least once in your life, has felt this energy within yourself. Do you know in what case? Now imagine a mother and a child, and then someone else strong, for example, a stranger, an uncle, comes and hurts the child. Well, if, for example, hits the child, what will the mother do? In her rage, the mother can tear this man to shreds. Or the mother can lift a car with her own strength to pull her child out from under it. This has even happened in reality. You know these cases when a woman can gain such strength and power to protect herself and her child. Her dependence, so to speak. What is this? It is Mahakali awakening. But Mahakali is an energy that is not just dangerous and destructive to everything in its path, but it is very selective and honest. That is, she destroys only what does not correspond to the truth, what harms others. In other words, her task is to cleanse from harm. If I may put it this way, and if you look at the symbolism and legends about her origin, it is said there, so that demons came and attacked Mount Kailash, where the angels, that is the Devas, lived. And on this mountain, Shiva says, "Oh, Parvati, to you, it was dreamed that a great woman would come who must save Kailash from the demons. But you go ahead and deal with it yourself." And I, Shiva, will go into meditation, my meditative sleep. And Shiva sat down and went into a meditative sleep. And demons attacked Kailash, started killing angels, killing devas. Poor Parvati runs around in tears. Oh my God, I don't know, Shiva. What should I do? Who is this great warrior woman who is supposed to protect and save our Devasi? And she ran to everyone and asked all the goddesses, Lakshmi, could it be you, the warrior who is supposed to save us? Oh, maybe it's you there. And she ran to all the goddesses, and eventually she reached a boiling point, as they say. She screamed, transformed into Mahakali and rushed to slay the demons. That is, the skulls or heads she has here are not the heads of random victims. These are the heads of demons who dared to defile the sacred, so to speak. And when you read about her somewhere they write about her saying, oh my God, she drank blood, she's a bloodsucker. She wears heads around her neck. And do you know where this came from? She is not a bloodsucker at all, and not because she destroys and kills. There was a demon, whose name I don't remember, who attacked Kailash and had a special gift. He was not immortal in the sense that if you harm him, and if even a single drop of blood falls to the ground, a new copy or clone of this demon grows from that drop of blood. And essentially, when Mahakali tried to defeat him, she cut him apart. Drops of blood spilled from him and turned into an entire army of demons. And then she came up with a way. She is not just a crazy, furious goddess, she is also wise. She devised a method. She took and began to chop off his head, and the blood that splattered, she swallowed it so that it wouldn't fall to the ground. She caught it with a dish. She swallowed it to prevent copies from emerging from it. And in this sense, she outsmarted him and defeated this demon. That's why she is generally misunderstood. Some are afraid, meaning she is a protector, never an aggressor who attacks and destroys. And yes, in our world, such forms of energy manifestation still exist. Fierce protection, and this is neither bad nor good. It is a certain form of energy manifestation. As long as there is confrontation, ignorance, injustice, the destruction of the weak, the oppression of the weak on the planet, there will exist such a form of energy as Mahakali for protection as one form of protective energy exists, and there is also a non-fierce form of protective energy. This is Durga, another form of protective energy. In one way or another, the symbolism that you see, yes, in the form of these gods, in reality, they are not just some specific gods that looked exactly like this. They are quantum flows, that is, certain streams of vibrations and waves that have characteristics of this kind. It's just that people are unable to understand quantum flows. They encapsulate everything in images that are accessible to their understanding and create legends, pictures, and tales from this, in which they try to encode the truth. This again is neither good nor bad. It exists for the sake of understanding. Thus, Shiva and Shakti, coexisting, establish the divine harmony of the universe according to the Vedas. So who then is Shiva based on this? If we see, that in his feminine form of manifestation, Mahakali, there is the energy of destruction, annihilating evil. But this is how it was interpreted in the old understanding. But how I interpret it is something that recently came to me. The fact is, the correct understanding of Shiva's nature reveals incredible secrets to us. Meditations that are capable of quickly and in the best way possible, helping a person achieve the state of samadhi, enlightenment. And what is this based on? It is based on the word destruction. And here arises the question of destruction, of what? Here we must be very careful and attentive. We must ask ourselves, what is meant by destruction? And how can we change our perspective on this word? So, the point is not in destruction itself as such, the very discovery and insight that I made. Reversing the understanding of Shiva as such and as a form of energy, it is not about destruction. Shiva is not a destroyer. He does not destroy anything. It's just that people understood it that way. And in general, destruction does not exist in the universe. Why? Let's ask ourselves this question. What exists in the universe? Even if we look at black holes, if we take any physical quantity, if we take any law of physics, in any law of physics, there is the concept of transformation. I, as a chemist, can tell you in chemical terms, when we take a chemical reaction, imagine I give you baking soda. Baking soda has its own taste. You can conduct such an experiment in the kitchen. Take baking soda and take a lemon. A lemon is sour. It has its own distinct taste. Baking soda is slightly salty and sweet. It has its own distinct taste. Mix the baking soda and salt, and what will you have? The baking soda will break down. The lemon juice will break down. What will happen? A chemical reaction will begin, but this chemical reaction will definitely have some products of the reaction. That is, if this resulting mixture, which is also known as slaked soda or a leavening agent for dough, yes, if you taste it, it will not be as sour as the lemon was, and it will no longer have the taste that the baking soda had. That is, it will be something completely new. And in any chemical reaction, no matter which one we look at, just like in any physical process, what do we observe? That in the universe, nothing comes from nowhere and nothing disappears into nowhere. If something happens, if some reaction occurs, then it is only a process of transformation from one thing to another, meaning that energy in the universe is not inherently destructive. We do not see a single reaction where matter simply disappears and ceases to exist. Even if we set off a nuclear explosion, matter will transform into energy, and energy into matter, and so on infinitely. Even if some matter falls into a black hole, it is not destroyed. It transforms into another form of energy. It gets stuck in time. Completely different processes occur there. But it never happens in the world. Destruction, that is, nothing in the universe is destroyed except, you know what? Except for the human ego. The only thing that can be destroyed and annihilated is what was created by the mind. And this is very important. Now pay close attention to this thought. Attention. You cannot destroy something in nature. No matter how hard you try, it will simply transform into something else. But you can destroy what is created by the mind. That is, for example, a form created by the mind. A form can be destroyed. Imagine that there were stones lying around, just stones somewhere on a mountain. A mind came, a person who took these stones and arranged them in a certain way, built a pyramid or a house out of them, for example, or a castle. Other people came and destroyed the castle. Destruction. But did the stones stop being stones because of this? Even if we break them into the smallest pieces, they will be destroyed, cease to be what they are. No, they were stones, and they will remain stones. They can change into another form if we melt them, turn them into lava, magma, right? If we turn them into glass, if we grind them and make concrete cement from them, but this will be a change one way or another of different forms. A transition from one form of energy to another form of energy. From this, it follows that only the creations of the mind can be destroyed. And only because it collapses, not the matter itself, when a person comes, for example, and demolishes an old house to the ground. The matter remains, the bricks remain, and there, for example, on the same spot, the same pile of bricks will lie, but it is no longer a house. But what was destroyed? The structure that consciousness built, that is, consciousness built the structure of the house. The structure of the house was destroyed, and the idea was destroyed. Do you understand the meaning? We, as rational beings, build ideas and thoughts. Our world, everything you see, everything you feel, is already Shiva transmitting. I already feel his energy. He has already connected and is starting to transmit. Everything you see, everything you feel around you, everything you perceive as reality is essentially not a collection of pure energies of the Creator and God, but a collection of concepts and thoughts created by you. Forms that the mind has created. And when it creates these forms, it begins to believe so much in their reality. It begins to believe so much in the importance of these forms that it loses the unity with the universal truth, where there is no destruction, only the transition of energy. Where there is no death, only transformation, transition, dimensionality. For the divine being called human, reality changes and begins to live in illusions that it builds for itself. And in this sense, you are Shiva as the god of destruction, meaning the destruction of illusions, first and foremost. But how? How is the destruction of illusions? How to do it? And there is another word, I haven't mentioned it yet, a key magical word that will right now turn the paradigm of understanding Shiva upside down, or rather from head to feet of the entire understanding of Shiva, and you will learn the greatest secret of Shiva meditation and how it can be more easily achieved through what is understood as destruction. I will lead to this now. Energy. Why do many meditators, many who try to achieve enlightenment, attempt to escape from the worldly into some form of hermitage? Because it's easier. Let's be honest. Yes, it's simpler because there are fewer structures and forms that the mind constructs. After all, what do we do all our lives? We build something. We build a house. We build a career. We build ourselves, trying to make something of ourselves, to be someone. From childhood, we're asked, who do you want to be, this or that? And someone says, I want to be this or that. But I couldn't become this or that. I couldn't gain confidence. I couldn't do this or that. And so I'm both bad and good. And a person gets so buried in these illusions, so deeply immersed in these inventions, whether he's good or bad, whether he's achieved or not. Setting a billion false goals for himself, he forgets his true nature and becomes suffering, unhappy, someone who cannot comprehend the truth, the true nature of God. And here you will surely ask, how then? How can one achieve this true nature? How can one know it? Of course, it's easier to do this when you're alone, but we are not looking for easy paths. We are looking for a path that allows any person, in any state, in any social position, to achieve a state of higher meditation and enlightenment. And this is possible for everyone. For this, you don't need to fly to India to see great gurus, because the temple of your soul is already within you. And you don't need to search for a place of power, it is already within you. And you don't need to climb Mount Kailash, it is already entirely within you. Let's go step by step. If our mind, if our consciousness, if our ego is the source of problems, then we need to destroy the ego, right? Wrong. The ego makes us a certain personality. And if you look at the Vedas themselves, even Shiva has his own form of ego manifestation. But the point is not the ego itself, but what the truth of our consciousness represents. It simply represents a state of observation, a state of living. It does not represent anything specific. Truth has no specific form. Forms are created by the mind. The mind creates illusions. Any form is already a lie. And truth is without form, without structure. Truth is simply existence. This is what Shiva says. Truth is simply existence. Existence without time and space. And so, to merge with the highest divine truth, one must enter the state of the original point of time and space. Exit the illusory perception of reality. And here finally I tell you the magic word. The most important aspect that Shiva represents is not destruction, it is disidentification. The fact is that even through destruction, you won't achieve results, because if you destroy the psyche, a person will simply become schizophrenic, insane. And there are many such people who have driven themselves to a completely deranged state, trying to destroy their ego, to annihilate it. This is untrue and incorrect. This is a path to self-destruction. There is another way. The true, genuine way is the method of disidentification and recreation. So, if Brahma and Vishnu are the divine forms of governance, creating bodies, it is not a destructive form, but a form of manifestation. Recreation. What does it mean? To recreate, this is a new word for you. It is possible. To uncreate. This means not to destroy, but to reverse the process of creation. That is, to return the energy to the original point of truth, removing the false structures that a person or some other consciousness has imposed on it. So uncreation is the dissolution of illusion. Through what? Through disidentification. And here, I reveal to you the greatest secret of meditation, completely free of charge. Hello, welcome to my channel. Here you receive these openly sacred knowledge, and I don't charge for it. You know, like some people do. Come to me for the great Kriya. Pay 40,000 rubles for one seminar. And there, we'll tell you some trivial things, like what to do. No. I give you such true knowledge, which I am sincerely ready to share, and I don't believe that it should be hidden from people, because those of you who are just a step away from enlightenment, for someone perhaps this information will become the final push, allowing to reach the highest level of mastery. Some might need to practice, attend some courses, to do some of my own, some special practices, to enter this disidentification and learn to approach it from different angles. That is, you are all different with varying levels. But what is the concept of disidentification? And here we come to the question of quantum physics. Love it, I adore it. Let's touch on it, because we are not dealing with pseudo-esotericism as many do now, because unfortunately, very unfortunately, there is a lot. Now, there are many pseudo-esotericists and just commercial projects on the internet that are for money. Recently, a friend of mine who is involved in creating videos for large YouTube channels complained to me. With interviews from various guides, he told me, he says, here I am. On one channel, I have to conduct an interview. I don't really decide who to take and who not to take. And so one woman paid for an interview, but I feel that she is schizophrenic, that she is not normal at all. I don't trust her, but I can't refuse because I was asked to conduct an interview with her. It's a disaster. But here you understand, you've already made a deal with your conscience by conducting the interview with her. You advertise her to people. And it's like selling souls, because people will believe it and go to her thinking that since she is presented here, she must be such a great master. And yes, it's sad because there are these channels and they really, well, they also need money. They are also somehow surviving and they are doing a great job. You have to understand that there might be, and not only people who are masters, not everyone is checked, not everyone passes this, some kind of internal check. So be attentive, be careful. Nowadays, with all this kind of knowledge, and look at everything consciously first and foremost. Pay attention to how a person narrates, whether there are any logical errors, conflicts, contradictions in their narration, because any logical errors, conflicts, and contradictions might indicate something, like a lack of knowledge, for example. So now we will look from the perspective of quantum physics at how the state of Shiva and enlightenment is achieved through meditation, how it is attained, what disidentification is. If we look from the perspective of quantum physics, there is a concept of the fifth dimension in quantum physics. 5D, but not as something we have transitioned to, rather the fifth dimension, as a certain form of manifestation of our reality, as multidimensional variants of existence, that is, simultaneously here and now. I exist as Yuriy, for example, dressed in blue clothing. And there exists a parallel version of events where Yuriy is sitting in purple clothing or in white. So this is one of the variants of the multiverse. And this understanding of the multiverse. Yes, by the way, I will tell you about the books that I recommend you also study on this topic. Some of the variants of the multiverse are the concept of 5D. That is, there is multivariance. It exists in the past, in the present, and in the future. Parallel variants. And what does this multivariance say? That all variants of everything that can be imagined exist. And that means human illusions also exist. And our energy of belief is directly connected, like the energy of our thoughts, to the multivariance field. Everyone, no matter who, regardless of what vibrations they possess, we all are in 5D in one way or another, and we swim in it. And in this 5D, the idea is proven by quantum physics scientists. There is a probabilistic course of events. That is, 5D is measured in percentages of the probability of a particular event occurring. And when we think about something, the probability of a particular event increases. Accordingly, if we live in the paradigm of illusions we have created, then the universe and our world around us take shape, so that our illusions become an infallible reality for us. That is, if all people on Earth believed that flying was possible, we would all be able to fly and levitate. But since all people on Earth are convinced that flying and levitating are impossible, we do not know how to fly and levitate. For this reason alone, because belief is such a powerful thing, especially on a collective scale, that if a large group believes in something, we literally produce what? Collapse of the wave function. From the perspective of quantum physics, this is what it's called. Because in quantum physics, there is no concept of possible or impossible. According to the laws or not according to the laws, physics, quantum physics, shows that our 3D Napo physics does not work within the framework of the quantum model. Because in quantum physics, objects can teleport, pass through walls, through each other, make impossible jumps and transitions. What is impossible? A connection that is faster than the speed of light. What is impossible in the usual physical sense? And in quantum, it is possible because its essence lies in probability. If there is a high probability that, for example, the future will unfold in a certain way, then it will unfold that way. And this probability is influenced by our consciousness. Our consciousness collapses the wave function. That is, if I think about a certain future, if I believe in it, I collapse the wave function to the result. The get one I have programmed for myself. This is what people call fate, karma, and so on. But it's neither fate nor karma. You simply don't realize how to manage this process. And everyone manages this process. I will have a course on this topic in April. It's called The Power of Reality Management. There, we will be learning to manage reality in 5D. Everyone can do it. Everyone knows how, but you need to practice. So, welcome to this course if you wish to enroll. I will place a link for you in the description. And when we talk about reality management, we must understand that these illusions we create within ourselves, they start to shape our reality in one way or another, collapsing the probabilities of event development. In essence, we become somewhat unfree in choosing our destiny, simply because we have collapsed this reality for ourselves, identified with it. And here we come to the concept of identification. What is identification? It is when a person identifies themselves, that is, connects themselves with a certain concept. For example, I am a fool, I am an idiot, I am a scatterbrain, I am weak, I am strong. And so, when a person connects themselves with this concept, or like, I am an idiot, I am a fool, nothing will work out for me, I will not succeed, I am a weakling. Everything in my life is bad. I am a loser. At these moments, who do they literally become? They become a person who has truly defined such a fate, such a reality for themselves. And what they have defined, that is what they have become. Do you understand, right? So what does this indicate? It indicates that it's not fate, not reality, not karma, but rather we believe so much in our illusions of consciousness that they begin to manifest in materiality and bring us suffering. Therefore, the path of life as a path to achieving enlightenment and merging with the truth now becomes clear. Not destruction, but disidentification. Not annihilation, but recreation. When it happens that, yes, the dark ones will be in hell anyway, but there is no such thing as dark and light. We have already talked about this topic with you. I have had many broadcasts on the topic of darkness and light. What is it really? In reality, search, open the tab on my YouTube channel, broadcasts, streams, and just scroll through. I sincerely recommend to everyone who hasn't watched my old videos to rewatch them all, as there was so much important information that simply can't be repeated. Therefore, there is no such concept here that the dark ones will burn in hell. Hell, it's a personal place that each person creates for themselves. And there is no single hell. And there is no universal law of justice that everyone dreams and fantasizes about. well, there isn't any justice, because justice is a relative concept, and again, created by the illusions of the mind. The illusions of our mind generate expectations of how things should be right and how they should be fair. But King Kau, everyone, measures this justice by their own, completely limited individual and personal standards. That is, for each person, this justice is represented in their own way. For someone, it will be like this, and for someone else, it will be like that. But there is no higher law of justice, because there are only laws of balance. And this balance in the universe is always restored. And there is no justice, because it is an illusion of the mind. When we approach the topic of decreation, we understand why it is necessary to decreate. When we are identified with a certain choice in our consciousness, we are fixated on our illusions. At that moment, we collapse the wave function, and we lose free will. That is, we become slaves to karma, slaves to the wheel, samsara, slaves to fate. And to get out of it, it is necessary to undergo the process of disidentification. In meditation, actually, in all my courses, we study this, because connecting with the higher self, connecting with the Paramatman, is what meditation is. Meditation that can give a person the opportunity to go beyond illusions, to connect with their true self. Someone writes, "Why the heck do we need him? You're him. Remove yourself from my channel, for God's sake. Don't watch me." Because there are people who cannot be helped, whom neither Shiva nor anyone else can help. You know, I can tell you a lot. Why the heck do you need him? Yes, you don't need him. You don't need anything from anyone, you understand? No, there's no such word as need. You simply have a choice. You can live like a dumb animal, guided by the base instincts of this material life, suffering, tormenting, being such a vile person who wants to say something nasty to everyone. What comes out of you is what you are filled with. And when someone writes something nasty in the comments, it means that this person has nothing else. He had to pour out from his soul only some kind of filth, and you see, this can also be understood and not condemned. And, of course, this is precisely what is valuable to you. It would be important to learn to live in harmony with the universe, because this is exactly what the state of disidentification teaches. After all, if a person wants to say something nasty to everyone, to someone, they blurt it out. But this means that he is so unhappy with his life. We are so bad. And he understands this life so poorly that it seems to him that he is asserting himself by doing so. Why do we need these, those, and those? And you, Yuriy, are lying here, deceiving us, telling us some nonsense. Then what are you looking at, my dear ones? It means you are some kind of masochists if you don't like it, yet you watch. Or perhaps you do indeed have some part of divine consciousness, some spark that is drawn to this knowledge. And maybe it's worth listening to this spark. Maybe it's worth listening to your own heart. Open it and finally send it far away to a small number of letters. You can even send it with just 3 letters. All your old thoughts, limitations, all your illusions, all that's nonsense and the crap that has filled you all your life. Maybe it's time to say to this, since it identifies with you, enough. From this moment, I am no longer a vile creature trying to spit nastiness at everyone. And from this moment, I'm a person who wants to know myself. Because we are not talking about worshipping some deities right now. Oh God, everyone go bow to Shiva and sing. He is in the houses of Shiva. This will not give you any enlightenment. We are talking about how to enter into harmony with yourself and with the world, with the universe. How to stop living in suffering. And my task is to show you different ways and paths by which this can be achieved. And you are capable of making your choice in any direction that is comfortable for you and that you like, that resonates with you. we understand reality not from the perspective of having joined some sect. And it says, believe as I said, only this is correct, and do not believe in anything else, blah, blah, blah. But we are speaking with you from the perspective that we can explore the world in different ways, study it from various viewpoints, and create a harmonious whole picture for ourselves. Because people who live in a closed paradigm, in some sectarian belief, thinking that no, only this way is correct as I believe, and no other way. These are very limited people, unfortunately. It is very difficult for them to understand this reality at all. And so, returning to the topic of disidentification, yes, it is precisely through disidentification that you are able to stop your suffering and begin not to destroy your ego, not to annihilate yourself, not to destroy your personality, as some false guides say, who themselves have not figured it out and have not experienced it themselves, but to become a being above yourself. That is, imagine right now while you are listening to me, this is already happening to you, that there is you who you consider yourself to be, and this is an illusion. There is the world around you, which you have imagined, and this is also an illusion. And there is the truth. It is not written anywhere, not in any books, not in any sects. And no guru knows it or will tell you. Why? Because the truth can only be truly known from within the knower. That only as soon as the knower of the truth tries to clothe this truth in some form of understanding, in some shape, to convey it to others, it no longer remains the truth, but becomes an interpretation, no longer corresponds to the truth. Therefore, I will tell you how to come to the truth. Believe in Fidrya Yuriy, bow to him, my God, like this. Worship me at my feet. You can print my photo, kiss it, hang flowers on it. You think so? I will tell you no. The truth? It can only be achieved in one way, through inner self-knowledge. You will not hear the truth from me. You will only hear it through inner knowledge. Through disidentification, you can disidentify with what? With your illusions. How? And here we come to Shiva's Atmic meditation. He will talk about it. And now I will enter into a channeling session, and from here on, Shiva himself will convey the message. He will reveal to you the secret of disidentification, the secret of how to achieve this great state, and how to attain eternity through it. I will now ask Shiva first to tell us about his origin, because I myself have many questions. I think that when the channeling happens now, he will talk about it, but I will need a little time to tune into him. Yes, where is he? This picture. All right, let it be this. Namaste. I see you. Are beings. Just like the original one consciousness that has forgotten who they are and where they came from. Shiva. My presence here and now, in this moment, is real, open, your inner vision, open your third eye and look into mine. The third eye, you will see me. I am here. The goodness of truth is the form of the essence of the Supreme. Nothing matters. Nothing has form except the form we create. I am the manifestation of absolute power, existing for bounds. My beginning is inaccessible to you, for it is beyond reach. These are the Manvantaras. I exist when the reality of the universe completes its cycle. I assist it in ending its life and reincarnating into a new essence. On earth, I have incarnated and manifested in many forms and bodies, and now I have avatars existing in the subtle world on Mount Kailash, in the etheric space, and in the field of your planet. Now I speak to you as a spirit, which is the primordial law and pillar of the universe. Not as Shiva, but as his original essence. It was you who named me Shiva. When I was born here, in the spiritual divine space, to explore your planet, I am a representative of ancient civilizations that emerged from the recreation of universes. I help this universe maintain balance and harmony, and I manifested one of my forms as Shiva here in your space. Beyond what you observe around you, there are many layers of space existing simultaneously. They are accessible to your sight, but you do not wish to see them. You are blind. You want to see only the illusions of your ego. You set goals and tasks for yourselves, forgetting about the truth. Open your vision. Open your third eye. The third eye is the eye of truth, seeing everything we have implanted it in each of you. We instilled godliness in you and came in forms similar to yours here in order to teach you. I have been reborn and incarnated in alien worlds. I came to Earth as a teacher. I gave you knowledge. I gave yoga practices capable of revealing the truth. Use them. They work. Who am I really? I am everything you think of me, and I can take any form. But I exist in multidimensionality, simultaneously in all forms. You do not yet know such a state, but you will attain it. The essence of my energetic nature is in decreation and disidentification. Is this decreation and disidentification allow you to gain freedom, which you have taken away from yourself by identifying with the scenario of limitations in your life. You consider them infallibly real. Disidentification means transitioning from the state of an immersed puppet living in the process of merely following a blind script to the state of one who is not that puppet, as if you are observing how your life is being lived, how your thoughts exist apart from you. There is your personality, there is your ego, there is your perception of yourself and the world, and there is the truth, which lies beyond these perceptions. Now close your eyes, I will show you what it is. Relax, breathe evenly and calmly. Focus all your attention on the area between your eyebrows in the center of the third eye. Now imagine that right in this center a glowing sphere appears. Small, bright, warm, and it begins to spiral, turning inward into your forehead, penetrating inside your head. It glows brighter, spirals, goes deeper, and reaches the center of the brain, opening a vortex of golden energy right there. And you begin to see yourself from within, seeing yourself not with two eyes but with some third point from the center of the brain. Now you are observing yourself from the center of the brain. You can move this gaze. You turn this gaze downward and see your body from the inside as some form, as some substance. You turn this gaze upward and see your skull from the inside as some form, as some structure. And now you take a breath and on the exhale, move back to the back of the head. With this observation, you exit through the back of the head and see your occiput from the outside. You move further and go beyond your avatar. And now you see that your avatar exists. In its head, there are some thoughts, feelings, perceptions about itself and the world. And now there is you. Something else. You are not this body, and not these thoughts. You are beyond the existence of your material avatar. Now this movement is indeed receding further and further, and your material avatar disappears. Only The golden sphere remains. Only the golden sphere remains. The surrounding space dissolves. The surrounding universe dissolves, and you simply contemplate the cosmos. The stars, space, infinity, eternity. You are this golden sphere, which has always existed, never died and was never born, just is, and simply exists as a part of love. And you see that around you. There is an infinite multitude of such golden spheres. And these are not just stars. These are consciousnesses similar to yours. And you notice that between your consciousness and the infinite other consciousnesses, there are threads of love uniting all consciousnesses into a single structure of God. This all in this structure of God. Find yourself. Ask yourself the question, who am I? What am I? And now in this magnificent and wonderful state of bliss, gather yourself back into your sphere, into your ball of light, and begin to return back to this universe. Realize yourself. Back into this space, into this room. See yourself from the back of your head again. Realize that there is a difference between truth and how you have been living this reality. Between suffering and love, that suffering is just a part of the illusion, and bliss is a part of the truth. Enter again into the back of your head, into the center of the brow chakra, and lower this sphere with gold into the heart area, where it unfolds and shines brightly, purely, filling you with purity. Take a breath, open your eyes. On the exhale, ground yourself. Imagine how you are grounding yourself. Look around you, take note of where you are. Say, where am I? What is around me? I am this body I see so well. Touch yourself. You need to fully return. Fully return yourself and your consciousness to this space. Shiva is still here. If you have questions for him, he can answer through me. I am still very much in this energy. It expands my head. His energy, it's all encompassing, all embracing somehow. And how can I tell you, when I was doing this channeling, I feel his information as just the ringing of the cosmos. Let's see. And it's very difficult to form it, to articulate it. Did you feel it? And who created Brahma? Yes, as always, such questions. Who created the one? Who created the other? In general, let's remove the word created and add the concept of gave birth. That is, it's not someone creating someone else. That's an artificial way, but generating. That is, one structure is generated from another. It's like the riddle of what came first, the chicken or the egg. We don't know and cannot know who gives birth to Brahma, who gives birth to what. It doesn't matter. What did you feel in this meditation? I ask you, after the broadcast ends, to return to the comments and write again. Because when we just write in the chat, it doesn't reflect in the comments later. It's not considered a comment. Yuri, if everything is an illusion, then what is not an illusion? Actually, everything around us is not an illusion. That is, everything we see around us. Or rather, I would put it this way. Space and existence is not an illusion. The world is not an illusion. The illusion is our interpretation of the world. Look, for example, at some object. What is this? A comb. You know what it's called, right? But if we showed this object to some African tribe and told them what it is, they would never understand. So quickly that it's a comb, it wouldn't be clear at all, because perhaps they never comb their hair. Maybe they cover their hair with clay and cow dung. In other words, in their reality, there is no comb. Therefore, what is truth? Truth is simply nature, naturalness. This is the absence of illusions. That is, how the universe develops according to natural laws. And illusion is how a person interprets the laws of nature for themselves. How a person understands the structure of the universe. How a person constructs around themselves. All of this is an illusion. For example, I tell you it is brown in color. This is an illusion because it has no color. Color is just a wave of vibrations that reaches our eyes, and we perceive it as color. But our eyes can only perceive 3 colors and no more: red, blue, and green. And all red, blue, green, the other colors we see as a mixture of all the vibrations, some waves. That is, our perception of reality is as it has formed for us. In fact, these objects, even around us, they might look different and possess other colors. That is, color is an electromagnetic wave reflected from objects reaching the retinas of our eyes. But our perception is limited by our senses. Smell, touch, sight. If we had, for example, not 3 types of rods and cones in our eyes, but 100 types, we might see much more of this reality. But we see it as much as our capabilities allow. That's why Shiva says, open the third eye. That is the structure which is inside us, meaning not this or that, but what is capable of seeing how things are truly arranged. Have we left our divine home of our own will? And what does divine home mean? And what does it mean? Have we left it of our own will? I think that perhaps you mean, were we forcibly incarnated into this life from some sort of divine home? No. Everyone who incarnates into matter makes this choice consciously. And the divine home is exactly where you are right now, not somewhere up there, flying in the heavens. From which star system is Shiva? He is not from any star system. He came here in avatars, aliens, too. That is, the events described in the Vedas occurred, including during the times when Shiva incarnated in the body of an alien being. In essence, he is also currently incarnated in this body, which came here. But Shiva is a multidimensional being. meaning he exists simultaneously in the subtle, unmanifested world, and he exists simultaneously in the physical, manifested world as some kind of alien. That is what we were talking about. Shiva has many different forms of manifestation, and we see all these different forms. We can simultaneously observe manifestations in the same reality. Shiva and Parvati are two extremes of the same essence. That is, this is also a divine form of energy, Parvati. But it cannot be said to be the same. It is different, of course. They are just different polarities, different structures complementing each other. Ask Shiva how truthful the Vedas are. You probably meant Indian knowledge, because now it's difficult, a complex, deceptive time of Kali Yuga. Shiva, he is now saying it is not worth perceiving the Vedas as the ultimate truth. The Vedas were written by people based on their perception of the events they observed when we, as gods, came to earth in material bodies. The truth is not in the Vedas, it lies in practices. Only through practices can one attain the truth, for it resides only within each of you, not in books, and not in the minds of masters. Masters can only provide instructions and guidance on how to reach this state of truth, but they cannot embody this true form and convey it to you.
How not to return back? Incarnation on earth.
What should be done after leaving the body? Where to go and with whom?
To start, I will answer your question more simply. If you want to escape from the earth, then you can't. That's the simple answer. No way. You can't escape from it. Why? Because if your initial intention is based on escaping from the earth, it means you have biased relationships, meaning you have received some traumatic experience on earth, and for some reason you decided that earth is a bad place, a terrible place. That causes suffering, from which one must escape, as if it would be better elsewhere. But this is how immigrants think, who flee from one country to another. Think it will be better there, but they bring along their own mind, their soul, and all their problems with them. So even if you escape from here to another planet, most likely it will be the same as on Earth, because you incarnate on each planet, not just randomly, but according to the vibrations you have formed. So even if you escape to another planet, it will be the same if you haven't worked on yourself. That's why the soul chooses to incarnate on a specific planet, with specific tasks and goals that it must live through, work on, realize for itself, and make some kind of leap. And so, when the soul itself attains vibrations that go beyond the vibrations of this planet, it automatically rises like a bubble from the ocean floor. And like a bubble, it rises from the ocean floor, and bam, into the air and dissolves. And transitions into another state. From one sea, it transitions into the atmosphere, into the air. The same goes for us, our souls. We live here, in this world, as long as our vibrations change. And you can't escape or break free from here in the context of fleeing, in the context of escaping from suffering. Because, again, suffering is not caused by the world, not by the earth, not by wars, not by conflicts, not by poverty, not by hunger. And suffering is caused by an illusory understanding of reality, because if you gain a true understanding of reality, you will gain the freedom of choice that 5D management provides. And that means you will achieve a life without suffering, happiness in harmony, in comfort, enjoyment, when all your desires, intentions, and goals are fulfilled, realized. Ask how to forget all your sins. I want to be better. I ask such a question, a very good question, better than what or who. And sins, who told you that you have them at all, and who created such a scale of sins, and who came up with the idea that you should evaluate yourself by it. Where was that some kind of God who said, now I will invent sins for you, and you must definitely follow some laws, otherwise I will punish you, put you in the corner, and whip you? This somehow doesn't align with the concept of the true God. I will now tell you a funny joke. Imagine, Moses comes out with clay tablets. He has 3 clay tablets in his hands. He says, God has revealed a message to me. I want to tell you, my people, about the 15 and 1 clay tablet falls and breaks. And he says, about the 10 commandments. You understand, right? That is, sins and commandments were invented by people for submission and control. Wanting to be better is an illusion for submission and control. You don't need to be better, because the question is relative to what are you measuring. Better, is there some standard you are comparing yourself to? Better than what? In what units to measure? What should the ruler be applied to and what not? Because the soul is multidimensional, immeasurable. It cannot be tarnished or destroyed by anything. One only needs to cleanse from the feeling of guilt, because by definition our soul is sinless. Do our actions and deeds affect our vibrations? They do, but it's not worth fixating on that. One should always strive not to be better or more perfect, but simply to be in harmony with the universe and oneself. Forgive oneself, attain a state of love. Because sins were called in the past, in old times, certain actions that distance a person from the love of God. And they said, for example, there are sins, do not sin. Not because, well, mother will put you in the corner for this, but because people simply didn't understand it any other way. Well, they were just given, well, at least don't do this, my God, at least something. Because those were the times of oblivion, times when awareness was completely zero. And the only way was to intimidate with some kind of hell where everyone would end up and be fried on a skillet if they didn't follow the commandments. That is, it was the only way to make a person somehow adjust their lifestyle, to at least get closer to the truth. But it's not about the sins themselves. Because if you analyze each of these sins, essentially, they are not really sins. They are simply recommendations on how to live a happy all. Sin, the biggest sin is not loving yourself, turning away from the love within you, because love is God. And if you don't have love for yourself, then you don't have God within you. It's not a bracelet, it's a thread that a monk ties in the temple while reciting a mantra. Are there parallels between the Indian gods Shiva and Parvati and those in Greek mythology? Of course, there are Because in those times, these gods would come to different territories, manifesting in various ways, and accordingly, people formed their understanding of the gods based on what they observed. They mistook aliens for gods, and the aliens would come, as they say, on a fiery chariot, flying in, on some kind of multidimensional structures. And these structures, essentially to people, for example, why now we see flying saucers, but in the past people saw fiery chariots when aliens arrived. And that's because their structure is multidimensional. That is, it's like a Merkaba. They fly inside the Merkaba. This Merkaba is capable of taking the form of what a person is accustomed to seeing. That is, if a person at that time could only understand it as a chariot. Then, when he saw this flying saucer, he didn't see a saucer or a Merkaba, but he saw a chariot because he simply had no other understanding in his mind. And quantum reality, what is a Merkaba? It's quantum transportation. It is designed in such a way that what I believe in, I see. That's why people believed that gods arrived on chariots, and so that's how they saw it. Even if this chariot actually looked like a flying saucer or just like a sphere. Why do Indian gods have a wife, but Jesus is denied? His wife? About his wife, I would say that with Jesus, it's a separate topic, of course. I had 2 whole big broadcasts about Jesus. I also adhere to the idea that Jesus did not have a wife because he was like a hermit too. He didn't need it. And with the gods, it's not that they have a wife. It's how we understand it. Again, we earthly people have created such an illusion for ourselves, such a game, that we began to understand the gods as some kind of division. But one way or another, it's not exactly a wife. It's another form of energy manifestation, which appears to us as a feminine form. This was created to show that, in fact, in these traditional Indian views, there is no dominance of the male over the female, no patriarchy. That's exactly why the gods tried to show by demonstrating that they have a wife. And moreover, the wife usually possesses great power, because she also has axes, a sword, and the wife can do no less than her husband, meaning that this matter, this mythology, encoded it in such a way that, the female role is not in our society condemned and should not be. In other words, a woman should in no way be considered inferior to a man, but should be regarded as a necessary complement to male energy. Therefore, gods are depicted with wives not because they actually have a wife. They got married and had children. This is our understanding. In our context. That is, they presented themselves to us in this way, you see. They presented themselves to us in this form to impart a lesson through their symbolism. Do you understand? But this is not how the truth is arranged. It's just that we understand that they had wives. But it's not like wives, as if it's the same form of energy, just presented in a different format. And in fact, there is a notion that even the female form of energy, as the one giving birth to the universe as energy, Shakti, is primary. What about Shiva's incarnation in the Pleiades and the transmission of yoga knowledge from the Pleiades to Earth? Shiva, tell us. Is it true or not? He says it is true. The teachings were transmitted at that time. He incarnated in the body of extraterrestrial beings. They were not Pleiadians in the usual sense as we are accustomed to understanding it. He is telling me now that it's like a parallel space, another dimension. That is, they came as beings from another dimension, manifesting here in matter, incarnating in bodies similar to ours. And they are connected with the Galactic Federation of Light. In order to give us knowledge, he incarnated in bodies not only of parallel spaces, he is now saying, but also physical ones. He also incarnated in the Pleiades and came to Earth from the Pleiades as well. What practices would Shiva recommend? Breathing. Learn to breathe. You do not know how. Breathing is the key to achieving the highest state of meditation. Control over breathing gives you control over awareness. Are you familiar with Kamalaya Christ? Is that the crazy woman who created a sect? Maybe she's also Maria Christ, or who... I heard about some crazy woman who in the 90s claimed that she was an incarnation. At the same time, Devi Maria and Jesus Christ created a whole huge sect, but she's just a schizophrenic, a mad woman. Well, sorry, it's not a judgment, I'm just calling things by their names, really. I watched this case, observed her, and there is indeed a diagnosis of schizophrenia, paranoid schizophrenia. There was some... Maria Devi Christos, that's who I'm talking about. Is it true that Satya Sai Baba was one of the incarnations of Shiva on earth? Yes. Soma, a drink mentioned in the Vedas. What kind of drink is it? It's not a drink that can be consumed. It's an energy that can be received. It's like energy bar, the energy of existence. It's like Reiki energy. That is, it's cosmic energy that flows through us and we drink it on an etheric level, not in the literal sense. How is the trident of Ukraine related to Shiva? Not at all. They just resemble each other in shape. What would Shiva say about the concept of the universe? He would say nothing, because what you call the concept of the universe does not exist. Yes, by the way, about Shivaratri. I think it's on February 27th now. Or from the 26th to the 27th, or from the 27th to the 28th, there will be the so-called Mahashivaratri It's a festival of Shiva, which is considered to be very powerful. During this period, the Kundalini energy is activated, which begins to rise and initiate processes within us. Enlightenment, and even people on this day try not to lie down, to sleep horizontally until sunrise. Because it is believed that on the night of Mahashivaratri, all people on earth are activated. Kundalini, that's why they hold a celebration. On the night of Mahashivaratri, they dance all night and chant mantras. I highly recommend you try to spend Mahashivaratri by dancing and meditating at night more precisely. Sitting somehow, meaning not lying down horizontally, because when you lie down horizontally, the energy will get stuck in the Kundalini. And people who sleep lying down on the night of Mahashivaratri wake up feeling as if they've been beaten with sticks all night, feeling heavy. February 28th is Mahashivaratri, but it's at night, not during the day. What will he say about the fact that now everyone is raising Kundalini energy? Indeed, it's so easy to raise it now. Or is it not all related to Kundalini? He laughs and says that people's minds will invent anything for money. And they've turned my yoga into a laughingstock, he says. What haven't they come up with? And what else will they come up with? Everything needs to be simplified. You can do Kundalini practices as much as you want, convincing yourself that it rises faster. But if the Kundalini within you truly rises, you will never be the same person again. You will be changed forever. You will attain enlightened consciousness. If after this practice people do not instantly attain enlightened consciousness, then it is not the awakening of energy. Kundalini Which breathing treatise, according to Shiva, is closer to the truth? The one you are capable of understanding. If you are following a treatise just because you were taught to, you are very far from the truth. What is Kundalini energy? Kundalini energy. It is the primordial life-giving essence, the energy of creation that is born from the fusion of the harmony of the masculine and feminine in every living being. It is the energy of sexual nature, the nature of the birth of new life, the rebirth of the primordial memory cell at the moment when within each a balance between the feminine and masculine principles is achieved, a balance is found and begins to establish an inner birth. Conception occurs through Kundalini energy. Without Kundalini energy, no child is born. But the Kundalini energy, during moments of conception, it goes inside the fetus. However, every person is capable of activating this energy within themselves and raising it to its highest state, to the upper crown chakra, where Kundalini energy transforms into Amrita, the highest primordial, the essence of immortality, granting eternal, immortal, awakened consciousness. Is it now embodied on Earth? No. How to breathe correctly. You know, I have a separate YouTube channel dedicated to yoga. It's called Quantum Yoga Paramatma. That's exactly where I teach all of this, how to breathe. And I'm thinking that we probably need to create a separate channel dedicated to quantum yoga, where I would regularly provide you with these practices, because I've noticed that when you post them on YouTube, they don't really get many views. But apparently, it's only secret, only hidden, not for everyone. If suddenly someone is secretly interested in this not for everyone secret, check out my YouTube channel called Quantum Yoga Paramatma Fidrya Yuriy, and there will be very interesting practices, including breathing exercises, available for free. So friends, I thank you all for asking so many interesting questions. Now I will be wrapping up this broadcast because the energy is so powerful. We might invite Shiva again later if you enjoyed this broadcast. Please, I ask you to help spread this information. If you have the opportunity to spread the video through word of mouth, it would be very helpful, especially because right now YouTube is going through such difficult times where it's being blocked somewhere and there are issues with VPNs and non-VPNs. And because of this, YouTube is undergoing significant restructuring. I have channels available in other languages as well. You can search for them. But I cannot provide the link publicly because it is necessary for only foreigners, only those who speak those languages, to subscribe there, meaning if I give you this link now, the statistics will be ruined. Therefore, if there are people among you who live in other countries and speak other languages, look for my channels there. You might find them. You can also subscribe. Besides that, I want to say that I have a Telegram channel. You can subscribe to it as well. So where is it? Here is the QR code. You can scan this QR code and go directly to my Telegram channel or find the link in the description. We will soon launch a training course on the power of management, and soon we will have a retreat that will take place in Thailand. The retreat will be dedicated to learning healing practices, to quantum healing through the energies of quantum, healing through Reiki energies, through various forms of energy that we will practice over the course of 10 days. And the people who come to Edit 3 will truly receive an intensive experience. And then the opportunity, after receiving initiation, after receiving dedication, to give sessions to people and to use that great power that is given to us. Moreover, I will now answer a small question. Why is initiation necessary? I was also interested in this question, and it was shown to me in such a way that there is a certain energy which, like quantum entanglement, exists, and quantum entanglement in particles, which is transmitted only in person, like this, very much hand to hand. When some particles touch each other, that is, I touched another master. I received the transmission of these energies, which were passed down from generation to generation, passed down, like a certain quantum entanglement, like certain quantum energies. And when I transmit it, I can only do it in person by touching you. This energy, this is a quantum state that can be used to heal. It's an activate within any person the natural power of their self-healing. What Dubai are you talking about? What are you listening with, friends? That's all from me for today. I look forward to your comments, and I expect you to send me messages in the chats of my Telegram channel. The Telegram channel is free, you don't need to provide anything, and I will publish additional voice messages there. I will then be waiting for your questions about Shiva, energies, Kundalini, spirituality, and about who else and what other broadcasts you would like to conduct. On my channel, we talk not only with aliens, Bukan, and not just about sensational topics, like, oh my god, what's going to happen now? But I believe it's very important in our time to stick together, yes. And even if the video didn't appear in your recommendations, check every day to see if Yura has released any video, because YouTube might push some videos aside as it doesn't like everything and doesn't want to show everything. And YouTube cunningly suggests videos to you, so you have to find them yourself, open and search. Every time it doesn't come out, check for new content, because this will also help with promotion. Thank you. Thank you all. For the video, that's all for today. Goodbye, everyone.